Hi there, my name is Gordon McCrory. I am the happiness guy, and this is a video all about relationships and how to help you make them better. And I'm going to start off with a story about a fight that my girlfriend and I had. So that should be interesting, and I'll probably get killed for shooting such a video, but there you go. So as all couples do, or almost all couples do, then my girlfriend and I had a fight, and I think that kind of what came of that was I got to really realize and recognize something that happens during fighting that I think we'll all be able to relate to. And it relates to this concept of the lens that we use to see things at any given point in time. So let me track back just a little bit. We're always looking at things, life, if you like, life through a lens. But we're unaware that there is a lens there. Now, sometimes that lens is one way and sometimes that lens is another. So for example, sometimes when we're fighting, the lens would be very microscopic. We'd be narrowing in on the tiny detail, and that would be all that would matter. And sometimes the lens would be far softer, more telescopic, more see the big picture. And I think that ordinarily what we do with relationships when they're going well is we've got this big picture view, and we can remember all the good things about our partner and about the relationship. But in these moments that we find ourselves in disagreement, the lens gets shifted because of our emotional state, and we start to go really microscopic and narrow in on the tiny detail, and that's all that matters. And so I guess the first thing I wanted to do was just to make you aware of that and say, well, look, we've got these different lenses. And so after the fight that I had with my girlfriend, I thought, well, which lenses are useful and when? And I think that when it comes to relationships, the microscopic lens is rarely useful. It's certainly not useful in the heat of the moment. In fact, almost never, if not never, going to be useful in the heat of the moment. Yeah, sure, perhaps we want to pull back afterwards and examine things a little bit more closely. But I think more often than not, when it comes to relationships, when we feel ourselves getting a little bit microscopic, when we get that tension building inside of us, then we want to pull back a little bit, and we want to think, no. Okay, what's the big picture here? And I think where my own relationship is concerned, I'm very certain of what the big picture is. So I know that my girlfriend's like a fabulously kind human being, and she's the best girlfriend that I've ever had. Apologies to the one or two other girlfriends that I had in advance of my wonderful girlfriend. So yeah, she's the best girlfriend I've ever had, by quite a margin, and so therefore it serves me to remember that. It serves me to remember all the kind things she does. It serves me to remember how lovely she is, to what a better life I have as a result of being with her. It really serves me to pull back and to see all that. What are the main take homes from this video? How can you make use of this? Well, I think remembering that we're always looking at life through this lens that we're unaware of, that how we feel is affecting that lens, and that lens is affecting what we see and what we simply can't see. I think it's really useful to actually have done some work in the background to think, well, what is my relationship like? And to know what you truly believe about it. Because it's much easier to pull back and see the big picture if you already know what the big picture is, rather than when you're really focused on the fine detail of that moment. I think that it's also ordinary and normal to have these debates, arguments, maybe not debates, let's face it, but arguments or fights with partners. That's normal, particularly when we're a little bit stressed or they're a little bit stressed. But it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the relationship. It just means that one of you or the other of you or both of you might be having a tough time. And maybe when it comes to which lens to use, love would rarely use a microscope, and I think love and joy are probably the lenses that we want to be looking at our relationship through, and gratitude as well, certainly. So So yeah, I hope this video has in some way been useful for you. Next time you find yourself getting all microscopic, kind of looking at the fine detail and the scrutiny of kind of what's going on in the moment, I'd encourage you to kind of pause, step back a little bit, maybe go for a walk, kind of take a few deep breaths, remember what's true for you, look for the good, and hopefully that'll help you out a little bit. So that's been me, Gordon, the Happiness Guy. Hope it's been useful, and take care.